The Baltimore Ravens could be plotting something massive with two-time Pro Bowler Jaire Alexander now on the market. Will the Baltimore Ravens make the splash to hoist another Lombardi trophy? We'll be covering that and so much more right here, right now on Ravens Digest. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you who are new here, my name is Bryce Parker. I'm going to be your host for the day. And as always, make sure that you like, comment, but subscribe. You never know when you'll be the first 100 people to subscribe to a channel that's covering your favorite team. Me and Sam will be breaking down everything from trade rumors to free agency to mini camps, OTAs to seasons. We got draft stuff. Everything you need to know about the Baltimore Ravens, you can find that right here, right now. So let's get into it. So the Green Bay Packers have now released two-time Pro Bowler Jaire Alexander. Now, this move comes on the heels of controversy between Alexander and the team. We knew it's been a rift. We knew for a long time that there is something that's been going on brewing between these two parties. When there's smoke, there's fire, and the smoke came this past regular season when Jaire Alexander ran out with the captains for the coin toss in the middle of the season. Now, you might be asking, why is that a problem? Jaire Alexander was not a captain. He was not a designated captain to run out. And the team actually suspended him one game for that act. Now, that might seem like it's something that's very, minuscule, something that's very small. But like I said, when there's smoke, there's fire. And there's also been concerns with his injury history in the past 2 years leading up to this decision. Jaire Alexander actually having surgery on his knee back in January with the Green Bay Packers, putting him on IR. And so that leads us to today where Jaire Alexander now is a free agent, free to go to any team. The Packers drafted him back in 2018, and since then, he has been on fire. He's been one of the best cover corners in man coverage that the NFL has had in the past 7 seasons. He started 76 games. He's had 70 pass breakups within those last 2 seasons. But again, a lot of injury histories, from a groin to a shoulder to a back to now a knee injury that has sidelined him these past 2 years. He's only played 14 games, 7 games in each season in 2023 and 2024. And now, with Jaire Alexander coming off of an arthroscopic knee surgery, we now see that he is a free agent. So, should the Baltimore Ravens pursue Jaire Alexander? And yes, no, we'll cover that right now. Why should they pursue him? Now, the Ravens are in a championship window. They're in win-now mode. They have a lot of players who are up for a contract going into next offseason. So, the Ravens could possibly just be throwing everything at the wall. They could really be in the, F them picks mode. They could just really be trying to do what the Rams did back in 2019, stockpiling as much all-pro talent as possible to really make a run at it to hoist another Lombardi trophy. They've been close. They've been knocking on the door, but now it's time to kick in the door and take all the presents at Christmas. So the Ravens also play a lot of man coverage. Jaire Alexander, one of the best players in man coverage. Best corners in man coverage. The Ravens played, I believe it was a third of their downs last season. Jaire Alexander comes into this Ravens defense and is an automatic boost. He also adds depth to this DB room that they're actually going to lose with Darius Washington going down with a season-ending injury. Now, I know he's not a safety, but with depth at corner, you can do a lot of things. Also, the Ravens picked up Awuzie in the offseason. I believe that Jaire Alexander is a better corner than Chidobe Awuzie. I would take him every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Now, Awuzie is a good corner. I do think he's going to do some good things for the Ravens, but I still believe that Alexander can do more. Also, this could just be a prove-a year for Alexander as well. You give him a 1-year deal. He could be working for something longer term, maybe an extension going into next offseason. If the season goes well, you have a low risk, high reward. You get a cheap player, a cheap all-pro player. That is one of the best corners in the league. It could work out for Eric DeCosta. Now, why should they? Now, why shouldn't they? The Ravens seem to have a complete unit, especially a complete cornerback room right now. You got Nate Wiggins, you got Marlon Humphrey on your team, and you also picked up Awuzie within the offseason. And then just overall as defense, it seems like they have the pieces that they want scheme-wise, a lot of versatile players that can do a lot of things, that can move around in the back end. If the Ravens were to get another piece, I would personally suggest that they go get a pass rusher or go get a safety. Again, you had Darius Washington go down. One of the things that they wanted to do in this offseason was have a very diverse safety unit. You were going to have Washington with Hamilton, and then you drafted a guy like Malachi Starks, who's looked great in OTAs, by the way. You have Ardarius Washington go down. I would have liked to see them go get, if they were going to get a corner, get a guy who's very versatile, like a Jalen Ramsey, actually, who can play slot corner, who can go inside and guard the tight ends and guard the slot receivers. And then also just make sure that Zach Orr's defense can be as versatile as possible. That's what I would do instead of getting a guy like Alexander, who's actually very similar to Marlon Humphrey in that regard. I believe they play the game very similarly. They play on the boundary. They're going to try to lock up your X receiver. They're going to play physical with those big X receivers. So I would say they might get a different, style of corner. I mean, and then you do have Nate Wiggins on that other side. I believe that they think that what they have with Nate Wiggins is better than what they're going to get possibly with the addition of Jaire Alexander on a one-year deal. And also, they went and got Awuzie in the offseason for a reason. They gave him $36 million this offseason. I believe that they have a lot of faith in Awuzie. They know what they're going to want to do with a talent like his. And I don't think they're just going to throw it away for the possibility of getting Jaire Alexander. So, what does Bryce think? I think this move is actually very possible to happen. Personally, I wouldn't make the move because, again, I would go get maybe another safety, another guy in pass rush, or again, I would go get Jalen Ramsey because he's a guy that does a lot of different things. Now, I know that the Ravens have not been in the Ramsey talks. I know. So Jaire Alexander could be another best option. I also think Alexander might not be as expensive as Ramsey. I know Ramsey's getting older, but he does have the experience. He brings Super Bowl caliber, and he's also been with multiple teams. He can learn different playbooks. He can play different styles. Again, like I said, he can play inside, outside. He can even step back and play safety at sometimes. He can do a lot of things. So that's if I was Eric DeCosta, that's where I would go with it. Also, again, like I said, you have a lot of players that you're going to need to prioritize in the offseason. We covered it in the last two videos, actually, on offense, defense, and special teams. Is this going to be a move that EDC wants to put on his to-do list? But also, he could, embrace the challenge of having a personality and a guy with experience like Jaire Alexander on this back end. Like I said, just to throw everything at the wall. Again, to be like the 2019 Rams who went after it and it paid off. Could this be the move in the direction that the Baltimore Ravens go on? And also, little tidbit, Jaire Alexander actually has a tie to the Baltimore Ravens, and it's Lamar Jackson. They played together at Louisville, so if it's anybody that might, want to whisper in Jaire's ear and tell him, hey, it's sweet over here, it's good, or you need to come over, you need to be a part of what the Baltimore Ravens are building and have been building, and to get them over that hump, again, they've been knocking on the door. Now it's time for them to kick in the door. Lamar Jackson could be the guy that could either talk to Jaire or possibly talk to EDC and say that this is a guy that I want on the team. So, wrapping it up, what do you guys think? Do you think they should go get Jaire Alexander? Should they not? And if they don't, who should they go get? Should they go get Ramsey? Should they try to get Trey Hendrickson, another guy who has a contract issue even within the division? Maybe another pass rusher, a safety, a corner. Or maybe they even need offensive help more so than they do need on the defense. What do you guys think? What guys should they go after, and what positions should they go after? Also, what should be the topics of our next video? Do you want more trade rumors? Do you want more inside of mini camps and OTAs? What do you want from me and Sam from this content? Please like, comment, and tell us. Give us some feedback on what you want to see from this channel. Again, guys, thank you so much. Again, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates on this Baltimore Ravens team. Again, we're going to be covering highlights. We got trade rumors. We have game breakdowns. Whatever you want to know about the Baltimore Ravens, we got it right here. So thank you again so much for joining us today. And as always, go Flock.